content has a short shelf life. We're producing content that would be used for 6 months, a year. Now we're producing content for social media that is being used for 6 hours to 24
Wow.
hours. And it has a very short shelf life. So that investment in polished content has kind of gone down. So that means that we have to have the ability to produce content quickly, come up with content ideas quickly, but then also execute it quickly for brands.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Right Media Group Chronicles. This podcast dives into the real stories behind successful agencies, the wins, the lessons, and everything in between, so you can build smarter and grow faster. So today's guest is Kevin, a creative leader who has produced major national campaigns, award winning content, and even official webcast for President Obama's inauguration. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, to kick things off, what does your role look like day to day across Project Bionic and West Coast content as well?
Yeah, so we're just about to launch West Coast Content. So I'm the CEO of that company and I'm the COO of Project Bionic. What that means for me varies from day to day in regards to Project Bionic. Project Bionic, we do a lot of social marketing. So I'm interfacing with a lot of clients and basically doing a lot of strategy work and then account management for them, as well as leading the team that's executing on the creative and delivering for them.
Okay, so what major shifts have you seen in how brands approach content and video today?
I think one of the big shifts that I've seen is that a lot of brands are changing the way they look at video content. So I used to have a video production business for about 22 years. We produced all kinds of content in the video space. But one of the big things we noticed is like the quality changing. And it used to be super highly polished content. And now it's after we've seen a lot of the user generated content starting to be in there, have started to be a little more open to not as polished content. And I think they're also starting to recognize that content has a short shelf life, where before we were producing content that would be used for 6 months, a year. Now we're producing content for social media that is being used for 6 hours to 24 hours. And it has a very short shelf life. So that investment in polished content has kind of gone down. So that means that we have to have the ability to produce content quickly, come up with content ideas quickly, but then also execute it quickly for brands. And so we're starting to see more brands looking for that quick content, but we're also seeing them take some of that content in house and have content creators themselves in house that we work with and get content published that they're producing.
So, where do you feel agencies are struggling the most to adapt these shifts? And
I think
particularly
so.
your scenario as well.
Yeah, so I think some of the shift has been that move to in-house. So having agencies not as part of the project overall. So finding what we're finding is that we need to bring a deeper value to the clients that we're working with. So producing content or helping them get content produced is one of the ways that we're kind of shifting and trying to look at how we do that, but also bringing new ideas and fresh ideas. A lot of times they'll bring in-house people in and they start to see that they're overwhelmed with the work that they're doing. So they just continue to fall back to what they want or have been accustomed to. So being able to bring some fresh ideas and new approaches is something that we've seen work well for us in being able to deliver for clients.
And are you particularly using AI as well in order to become more efficient at creating content quicker? Because, like you said, the shelf life's less now, which means you need to produce more and more content.
Most certainly. We're definitely utilizing AI. I would say, however, we've learned that AI, or we were sold AI as, the solution that can produce content quicker. And what we found is that it certainly can produce content quicker, but it might not be as powerful or as relevant to connecting with audiences. So what we found is that AI is a great tool to use in our arsenal of being able to execute and deliver and be able to create new shots or anything. But having that human element is still really key in being able to deliver content that will resonate with an audience. And we found that that emotional connection that so many people need to have as part of their content is missing from AI. So we've been talking about, you still have to have the human in the loop as part of the content creation. You still have to have that element that brings a personal touch and has a deep emotional connection with the audience, and being able to understand what that audience truly is looking for to be able to engage them.
You clearly are making waves in the industry. Would you mind to touch point a little bit about the trophies you have in the background?
Oh, yeah, most of those trophies in the background are for Telly awards. They're video industry awards, and they were won by my staff at my video production company. And when we closed the business down, I moved to my home office, and the awards came with me and sit behind me now.
It's still part of your history, and why you are here right now doing, what you do with your agencies. And you also mentioned a new venture and some new services. So would you mind to touch that a little bit more in detail to kind of let the audience know what you're working on now? What's kind of the next big thing for you and your agency?
Yeah, so the big thing that we're working on right now is the launch of West Coast Content. It's a
Hmm.
new agency that will still be doing social first marketing, but we'll be actually focused a lot on content creation. And that's for both organic and paid content and social media. But we also see that some of this content that we'll be producing will be living in a multitude of other places. And that could be websites, traditional streaming advertising, the likes of that. Along those same lines, we're looking at how we, as part of West Coast Content, I should say, we are incorporating a lot of new services, and one is around thought leadership. So we have a video production product that will be coming out that will allow basically somebody that is interested to have content created for them, but they don't know where to start, how to do it, or anything like that. We'll be able to produce weekly content for them that could be once a week, could be 3 times a week, or could be daily during the week, with prompts that will be able to be relevant from content that is in their subject area. And we'll record video responses, clean that content up, and be able to deliver that back into social channels to start to build their thought leadership in those spaces. We're also looking, and that's where we'll start to use some of the AI tools that we're building. We're also building out some product offerings around individuals that want to be able to create like TikTok content, video content, and it could be in the real estate space, it could be in dental, it could be in cosmetic surgery or something like that, where they know that they need to show off their products pretty well. So we're having some new video products in that realm as well.
Wow, sounds incredible. When is that going to be finalized then?
So we should be launching West Coast Content the first part of December, and the new product offer, or the new products, will be part of that. So we should have that launched at the same time.
And what would you say is working really well for Project Bionic?
I think what's working well is just our history. We're being able to look at, how we've done work. But one of the big components that works well overall is our ability to help manage community. So that's one of the big things that I think a lot of people overlook is the management of community. And that could be anything from responding to comments to getting posts created to working with influencers. But we have a team that can execute and deliver on that. And that's worked really well. And I think that's one of the things clients really appreciate about us, that we take a focus on community and really look at how that can truly impact brands' value.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing how important it is to have a community, a loyal community, right? And can you just explain to the audience the benefits of having a community and what really is really the strength in that?
With having a community is they become your loyal fans. They become people that will follow you, will respond to you, will give you feedback. And by engaging them, it shows that you're willing to invest in them. And in turn, they invest in you. But by having somebody that helps manage the community, responds to people in a timely fashion, addresses problems, it gets feedback, engages with them, starts conversations. not only can it build the community, but you can also start to get feedback and help on your products offering and services. And so we've seen, like with one of our clients, we started to see a lot of comments about their not working as well as they like. And so we were able to take that feedback back to the client, and they designed a product to help support the or overcome the challenges that were being developed or brought up. So we were able to do that. But there, another client that we have is an ice cream brand here, and they basically are starting to see a lot of positive comments, and they're now able to address those effectively by being able to say, oh, these are markets that we should be going into and looking at how to expand. But when we start to see, somebody that's really active in promoting the product or bringing, like with the ice cream brand, they started to a Reddit thread, and we just started to watch it develop over time. And without even being prompted, we basically saw those individual, or we saw those people. They weren't prompting us in any way, but we said we should reward them, and we had the ice cream brand send some swag product to them to just reward them for their loyalty. But they weren't even looking to be rewarded. They were more just promoting the product because they really liked it.
It's great to have a strong community, as you just clarified, all the benefits there. But how does one build a strong community? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is being responsive, just being responsive to the community. Oftentimes people will look at, how can we build a community that really is thriving, and yet they won't respond to the community. So somebody might post a comment on one of their posts in social media, and it's not responded to for a month. And by that
Wow.
time, those people have already left and gone on and done something else. The other thing is when you start to get responses, interact with that community and start to develop the relationships that can build over time. So be it positive or negative, if somebody posts a comment like, this is the worst, ice cream that we've ever had, responding back like, hey, I'm sorry to hear that, but why do you think that? Start
Yes.
to engage those
Yeah.
conversations so that you can get the feedback for your product, but also show that you care about the community. So it's really developing that care and trust.
Mhm.
Overall, I think that trust is one of the big things that if you're able to build that with the community, it starts to grow because then those in the community start to promote you, the brand itself.
You clearly know a lot about how to, ensure that you have a product and a community behind that, which, like you said, is a loyal customer base. Do you deal with e-commerce, and do you also deal with service-based businesses as well? Who is it that your ideal industry today?
Yeah, for Project Bionic, since we're just over 16 years old now, we've dealt with all kinds of industries. Right now, we're focused a lot on consumer packaged goods, restaurants, hospitality, service, banks, and credit unions. Those are probably the big ones that we're focused on right now. And we've worked with everything from small to enterprise customer or small businesses up to enterprise customers. Right now, we're focused mostly on small to mid-sized businesses. So that's kind of who we're looking at right now.
And what's working really well for Project Bionic right now?
What's working well is, I think we're working well with our team. We have some contractors that we work with. We have some kind of full-time contractors that are able to execute. We're able to deliver on the needed creative that our clients are looking for. And we're trying to just continue to build in that realm. We're also looking at some of our paid side business, or our paid side of our business is developing, and being able to build that out a lot more is working well as well.
And would you say there's anything frustrating or slowing things down? I mean, I would say in the last 5 years, definitely there has been a lot more saturation in the marketing agency space. But obviously, you started 16 years ago, so that you had that foundation build up. But is there anything else that's sort of frustrating?
Yeah, I think there's always frustrations regardless. And I think that's one of the things in business that you need to get accustomed to, that there'll always be frustrations. It could be everything from clients not understanding what there are, clients not appreciating marketing efforts, clients not liking the creative. So there's always going to be a frustration. But I think the better look, the way to look at it is how do you overcome that frustration and how do you address that? Because each client's going to be unique, each client's going to have its own challenges, and each client is going to bring a value to your brand as an agency. So being able to figure out how you can deal with that frustration in a positive way so that it doesn't impact the work delivered for the client.
And then when it comes to AI, you touched point on actually utilizing AI into your agency. Is there any sort of workflows or any tools that you prefer to use that you have found have made you more efficient?
There's a lot out there.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been experimenting with a ton of different AI tools. A partner of ours, MadSense, has been developing a tool that we've been a part of for the last year. It's a tool that helps manage a lot of content and helps do some of the creative. But one of the big things that it really brings is the capability to do reporting and analyzing not only what is being delivered, but also what the industry is doing and competitors are doing. So having that research capability is extremely important in how we develop some of the strategy. So that tool has been pretty powerful. We've been experimenting with a lot of the video AI tools out there from VO3, Sora, including or incorporating Nano Banana, a variety of those tools to be able to help us with the content creation in video. Suno, I think it's Suno, is an audio tool that we've been utilizing to create some audio clips that can go in to our tool. Descript is another one that we've been utilizing for some video editing projects. So it just varies from engagement to engagement.
So, if you could, let's dream a little bit. Let's not focus on the capabilities of AI right now, because we all know every day a new AI comes out. So, let's say tomorrow comes out an AI. What would be the ideal scenario or workflow that it would automate or make you more efficient on in your agency right now that currently isn't utilized, per se?
That's a great question. And I don't know that I've sat down and really kind of drawn it out. But, I think one of the biggest challenges that anybody's going to face is the workflows of AI and how it integrates between humans and AI and where that happens. So oftentimes, or in the past, we've, had workflows that manage when projects are done, check like ClickUp or something like that where it's a task-based work. But now when you're starting to integrate agents and humans, I should say AI agents and humans, how that process starts to work with a workflow tool. So I think that will be one of the big keys in the future is knowing when agents are done, when humans need to take over, or if there's problems, and then being notified properly. So how that all integrates into existing tools, if that's a Slack notification, email notification, SMS, or something like that. That I think that'll be a big key in in AI integration.
So, it's more around workflows, pretty much.
Yeah, I think workflows, because right now I don't know that there's, as you said, every day there's a new tool. And how I don't know that there's a clear winner where, 20 years ago, there was a winner with Adobe Photoshop, and most agencies integrated Adobe Photoshop. Today, I don't know that there's a clear winner that will, like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Premiere or Final Cut from Apple. I don't know that there's a clear winner that anybody can standardize on just yet, because I think tomorrow is going to be another improvement from a competitor
Yes.
in the AI
Yeah,
space.
and this is when it becomes quite overwhelming for business owners that are trying to integrate AI. They're like, okay, this tool's good now, but then tomorrow there might be something that is more powerful than that. So where do you go? There are so many things out there. Like, which one do we pick? When you're in a candy shop and there's too many choices, you're just confused.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's like trying to keep up with it. I read AI newsletters about the latest thing that came out, and they're able to publish. I feel like they could publish every hour because there's something new that pops up. But, just keeping up with what that is for a business owner is maddening at times.
So, when it comes to bringing in new clients for Project Bionic, what's worked well for your agency?
I can't say that we've done that very well. I can say that we've gotten a great referrals. So our existing clients referring business to us, having those conversations and building that up. My business partner in Project Bionic, he's really great at being able to network. I've developed a lot of relationships in networks as well, but my business partner Josh loves to go out and network with people and find the right people to talk to and get the referrals. We've done a little bit of cold outreach that developed some warm leads, but they actually didn't convert into actual business. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, and I think it's the cobbler's kid syndrome as well, where we're out marketing for other brands, and we're not doing that
Yeah.
for
Oh,
ourselves.
yeah. Heard it time and time again. It's like we are professionals at helping our clients, and we are so focused on it because we want to deliver the best results. But we tend to leave our own agency on the back burner.
100%. Yeah. It's like we'll get to that when we can, and when we can is almost never.
Anything like content, you're not going to see results from straight away. You just need to be consistent, which sometimes is a struggle because it takes a lot of time, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's true. It's just, anything that we're finding in the marketing space just takes time.
Hmm.
And, so many people want to skip over that awareness step or the awareness phase for a brand. And it's so key to being able to, one, have the algorithms understand who you are in the
Yes.
social space, but also just people in general understanding who you are. And it takes time to get out there. And unfortunately, a lot of people are impatient and don't have that time.
And how predictable would you say your client flow is month to month? Would you say there's slower seasons and then there's obviously busier seasons throughout the year?
So the way we built Project Bionic is we try to have a retainer base model so that we have pretty consistency throughout the year. And there's definitely seasonality in terms of business development work. And I would say, our summers tend to dry up pretty much. We continue kind of on autopilot with our retainer clients, and we don't do as much project based work so that we don't have as much of the seasonality at that point. In terms of the retainer relationships, we definitely see, a higher demand on certain time periods. And, like during the holidays, we definitely see, a lot more demand on our consumer packaged goods clients. And other times, we see demand in the spring for, uh, you know, different products. So there is that seasonality in terms of workload. It's not as much there since we have retainer relationships.
So it tends to slow down during the summer for you. And then towards events like Christmas, Halloween, I guess that picks up again.
Yeah, for some of our consumer packaged goods clients, but it also depends. We've had like a coffee brand that they get a little more, they do a little bit more around like the Black Friday shopping season because everybody else is doing it and it's a e-commerce kind of experience. They don't do as much in the summertime, but then this brand is associated with the military and they, have a little bit higher or a little bit more focus around Veterans Day or Memorial Day. So those times here in the US, they have a lot more demand at that point.
And talking about growth and what is the plan for Project Bionic and for West Coast content as well
Yeah,
for the
so
next year?
we're shifting Project Bionic a little bit to more of a consultative approach.
Uh-huh.
So we're looking at how we can build out that and look at the clients that we have and how we can continue to be consultative to them. And then we're going to let West Coast content take over a little bit more of the work that we've seen developing or that needs to be executed. So the idea is really to have Project Bionic be a consultative or consultancy kind of business and deliver for clients that way. And then West Coast content will be a different brand that I own. That will be a tactical execution and delivery. It'll still develop some strategy, but not focus so much on consulting.
Okay, great. Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge with the audience and your expertise in the industry. It's been an absolute pleasure. If people wanted to connect or find out more about your services, where could they look?
Yeah, so westcoastcontent.com is our website. Projectbionic.com is the other website. I'm available on LinkedIn, and my profile is KMAUDE, and my email is Kevin at West Coast Content. That's probably the best place to find me. But yeah, those are probably the best places to locate me right now. Hopefully in the future, there'll be some other places. Right now, that's probably the best. It's been great talking with you, and I appreciate you having me on.
For anyone who wants to connect with Kevin or learn more about his work, all the links will be below this video.